Let me ask you something that might sting a little. When was the last time you questioned whether someone in your life was truly your friend? Not in a paranoid way, but in that quiet, unsettling moment when something didn't feel right. Maybe they said all the right things, but their energy felt off. Maybe they were there for the celebrations but vanished during your struggles. Maybe you couldn't quite name it, but deep down, you knew. You knew something was performative, something was hollow, something was fake. And here's what makes it so painful. Fake friends don't announce themselves. They don't show up wearing a sign that says, "I'm only here when it's convenient." They blend in, they smile, they text. They make you question your own instincts, because on the surface, everything looks fine. But beneath the surface, there are patterns. Quiet, consistent patterns that reveal the truth long before the betrayal becomes obvious. Psychologists who study relationships have identified specific behaviors that distinguish genuine connection from social performance. And the fascinating thing is, these signs appear early, long before the friendship falls apart. Long before the mask slips completely. Your subconscious often picks up on them before your conscious mind is ready to accept what's happening. Because recognizing a fake friend means admitting you've been investing in something that was never real, and that hurts. It challenges your judgment. It makes you wonder what else you've been wrong about. So today, we're going to talk about the 5 early signs of fake friends. Not to make you paranoid or suspicious of everyone around you, but to help you trust your instincts, to give you permission to notice what you've been trying to ignore, because you deserve friendships that are reciprocal, honest, and rooted in genuine care. And the first step to finding those is recognizing what they're not. So let's begin with the subtlest sign, the one most people miss entirely, until it's too late. The first early sign of a fake friend is selective availability. They're present when it's easy, entertaining, or beneficial for them, but mysteriously unavailable when you actually need support. Notice how they always show up for the party, the celebration, the fun night out. But when you're going through something difficult, when you need someone to listen, when life gets messy and complicated, suddenly they're busy. They have excuses. They'll respond to your message 3 days later with a superficial, "Sorry, been crazy." But here's the thing, everyone is busy. Real friends make time anyway. They might not have hours to spend with you, but they check in, they ask how you're doing, they show up, even if it's just a voice note or a quick call. Fake friends operate on convenience. They measure every interaction by what they'll get from it, and emotional labor, sitting with someone's pain, offering real support that requires effort without immediate reward. So, they avoid it. They ghost when things get heavy. They change the subject when you try to share something vulnerable. Psychologically, this behavior reveals something critical about how they view relationships. To them, friendship is transactional. It's about entertainment, status, networking, or filling their own emotional needs. It's not about mutual care. And the painful part is that you might not notice this pattern immediately, because when things are good in your life, they seem like great friends. It's only when you stumble, when you're struggling, that their absence becomes deafening. This selective availability creates a specific kind of loneliness. You have someone's number, you share laughs and memories, but when you're sitting alone at 2 a.m. dealing with anxiety or grief or confusion, you know instinctively that calling them won't help. They won't answer, or worse, they'll answer but make you feel like a burden. That's not friendship, that's performance. Real friendship doesn't operate on fair weather terms. It shows up especially when the weather turns dark. So if you notice someone is only around for your highlights but absent from your hardships, trust that observation. It's not in your head, it's a pattern, and patterns reveal priorities. When someone consistently shows you that your pain is inconvenient, believe them. That's the first sign staring you quietly in the face. The second early sign is conversational imbalance. Every conversation somehow circles back to them, their problems, their achievements, their opinions, their drama. And when you try to share something about your own life, you can feel the energy shift. They give you surface-level responses. Oh, wow, that's great. That sucks. Anyway, so I. And just like that, the focus returns to them. This isn't about occasional self-centeredness. Everyone has moments where they need to vent or share exciting news. That's normal. What we're talking about is a consistent, chronic pattern where your experiences are minimized, rushed through, or completely ignored. Psychologically, this reveals something about how they perceive your role in their life. You're an audience member, not a co-star. You're there to listen, validate, and react to their story. But your story? It's an interruption. It's a necessary politeness they tolerate before returning to what really matters, themselves. And the insidious part is that fake friends are often very skilled at making you feel heard in tiny ways. They'll ask, "How are you?" But it's a formality, not genuine curiosity. You can feel the difference. When you start to answer, their eyes glaze over. They check their phone. They're already formulating what they want to say next instead of actually listening. Real friendship involves reciprocal curiosity. It's a dance where both people take turns leading. You care about their life, and they care about yours. Not because you're keeping score, but because genuine affection makes you naturally interested in each other's well-being. But with fake friends, it's exhausting. You leave conversations feeling drained, like you've been used as a therapist or a cheerleader without receiving anything in return. And here's what makes this so damaging. Over time, you start to internalize the message that your experiences don't matter. You stop sharing. You shrink yourself. You become smaller and quieter because you've learned that taking up space in the friendship is unwelcome. That's not just a sign of a fake friend. That's emotional erosion. And you deserve better than that. The third early sign is subtle competition disguised as support. They congratulate you, but there's always a slight edge to it, a comparison, a way to diminish your achievement while appearing supportive. You got a promotion. They say, "That's amazing. I remember when I got mine. It was so stressful, but totally worth it." You started a new relationship. They say, "I'm happy for you. Just be careful. Remember what happened last time." You share something you're proud of, and somehow, within seconds, they've either one-upped you or planted a seed of doubt. This is one of the most confusing signs, because on the surface, they seem supportive. They're smiling, they're saying congratulations, but the energy feels wrong. There's a subtle toxicity you can't quite name. Psychologists call this frenemy behavior, a blend of friendship and rivalry, and it stems from deep insecurity. Fake friends struggle with your success because they view life as a zero-sum game. Your win feels like their loss. Your happiness threatens their sense of superiority or control. So they can't celebrate you purely. They need to protect their ego by either minimizing your achievement or reminding you and themselves that they're still ahead in some way. You'll notice this especially when you accomplish something they haven't. The response is lukewarm at best, passive-aggressive at worst. They might forget to acknowledge your success entirely. Or they'll acknowledge it but immediately pivot to their own struggles, making sure the spotlight doesn't stay on you too long. Real friends celebrate your wins like their own. They feel genuine joy when you succeed because love doesn't operate from scarcity. Your happiness doesn't diminish theirs. But fake friends keep a mental scoreboard. And when you start pulling ahead in any area of life, career, relationships, personal growth, they subtly sabotage. They discourage you from taking risks. They point out potential problems. They remind you of past failures, all under the guise of being realistic or protective. But what they're really doing is trying to keep you at their level. Because your growth makes them uncomfortable, it forces them to confront their own stagnation. And rather than being inspired by you, they resent you. That resentment seeps into every interaction, poisoning what could have been genuine connection. The fourth early sign is performative loyalty. They'll defend you loudly, in public or on social media, but privately, they're nowhere to be found. They post about you on your birthday with heartfelt captions. They comment on your photos with excessive enthusiasm. They talk about your friendship to others, making grand statements about how close you are. But when you actually need them, when you're going through something real and private, they're silent. This disconnect between public performance and private presence is a hallmark of fake friendship, because to them, friendship is about image, not intimacy. It's about being seen as a good friend, not actually being one. This behavior is particularly common in the age of social media, where relationships are often curated for an audience. Fake friends understand that publicly supporting you makes them look loyal, caring, and socially connected. It enhances their own image. But genuine emotional labor, the kind that happens in private conversations, late night, calls, or sitting with someone through their mess, that offers no social currency, so they skip it. They'll tag you in a meme but won't check in when you're struggling. They'll celebrate you online but won't show up when you need help moving. They'll say you're like family but won't remember important details about your life. Psychologically, this reveals that their investment is in the appearance of friendship, not the reality of it. They care about what your friendship says about them, not about what it means to you. And this creates a strange dissonance. You see all the public displays of affection and think, this person really cares about me. But your lived experience tells a different story. You feel alone despite having someone who publicly claims you as their close friend. That gap between performance and reality is confusing and painful. It makes you question your own perception. But trust what you feel in private moments more than what you see in public posts. Real friendship is built in the quiet, unseen spaces. It's consistent whether anyone's watching or not. Performative loyalty crumbles the moment the audience leaves. The fifth early sign is violation of trust. Specifically, they can't keep things private. You tell them something in confidence, and somehow it gets around. Maybe not maliciously at first. Maybe they frame it as concern or gossip, disguised as update. Did you hear about what's going on with them? They share your struggles, your secrets, your vulnerabilities with others, often without your permission. And when you confront them, they minimize it. Oh, I only told one person. I thought they already knew. I was just worried about you. But here's the truth. Real friends protect your privacy like it's sacred. They understand that what you share in confidence stays in confidence. Period. This behavior reveals something fundamental about how they view boundaries and respect. To a fake friend, your personal information is social currency. It makes them interesting. It gives them something to talk about. It positions them as someone in the know, connected to your life's drama. They're not thinking about how exposing your private matters might hurt you. They're thinking about how sharing it benefits them. Psychologically, this is a profound betrayal because trust is the foundation of any real relationship. Once it's broken, it's nearly impossible to rebuild fully. You start editing what you share. You become guarded. You realize that anything you say could become public knowledge, and the damage isn't always obvious. Sometimes you don't find out immediately that they've shared your business. You discover it later in a passing comment from someone else, and that moment of realization is gutting. You replay every conversation, wondering what else they've shared. Who else knows things you thought were private? Real friends understand that holding space for someone's vulnerability is a privilege, not entertainment. They don't weaponize your openness. They don't trade your trust for attention. But fake friends do. And once you notice this pattern, once you see that your confidences aren't safe with them, it's a clear sign that this person doesn't value your friendship the way you thought they did. So those are the 5 early signs: selective availability, conversational imbalance, subtle competition, performative loyalty, and violation of trust. If you're reading this and recognizing these patterns in someone you considered a friend, I know it hurts. It's disorienting to realize that someone you invested in wasn't investing equally in you. But recognizing these signs isn't about becoming cynical or suspicious of everyone. It's about honoring yourself enough to notice when something isn't right, because your instincts are often correct long before your mind wants to accept the truth. You feel the distance before you can articulate it. You sense the inauthenticity before you have proof. And here's what's important to understand. Fake friends aren't always intentionally malicious. Many of them are simply emotionally immature, insecure, or incapable of the depth real friendship requires. They might even think they're being a good friend. But intention doesn't negate impact. If someone's behavior consistently makes you feel unseen, unvalued, or unsafe, that's real. That matters. You're not being oversensitive. You're not expecting too much. You're recognizing that the friendship isn't meeting basic standards of reciprocity, respect, and care. And that awareness is powerful because it allows you to make conscious choices about where you invest your emotional energy. Psychologists emphasize that healthy relationships are built on mutual respect, consistent effort, and genuine care. When those elements are missing, what you have isn't friendship. It's something else. Maybe it's acquaintanceship. Maybe it's networking. Maybe it's one-sided emotional labor disguised as connection. But it's not the deep, nourishing bond that real friendship offers. And you deserve that real thing. You deserve people who show up, who listen, who celebrate you without envy, who protect your trust, and who value you in private as much as they claim to in public. Those people exist. But you won't find them if you're too busy holding on to relationships that stopped serving you a long time ago. So what do you do when you recognize these signs? First, trust yourself. Don't gaslight your own experience just because the other person hasn't done anything dramatically wrong. Emotional neglect is still neglect. Subtle toxicity is still toxic. Second, create distance. You don't owe anyone an explanation or confrontation if you don't want to provide one. Sometimes the healthiest thing you can do is quietly pull back, stop sharing as much, stop making yourself available, stop trying to force a connection that isn't reciprocal. Let the friendship naturally fade to the level of effort they were actually putting in, which is usually minimal. Third, don't internalize their behavior as a reflection of your worth. Fake friends say more about their capacity for connection than they do about your value. You are not too much. You are not unworthy of real friendship. You just haven't found your people yet. And that's okay. Quality over quantity always. It's better to have 2 real friends than 20 fake ones. Because real friends restore you. They energize you. They make you feel seen and valued. Fake friends drain you. They leave you feeling confused anxious, and small. And life is too short to spend it in relationships that diminish you. Fourth, use this as an opportunity to examine your own patterns. Sometimes we attract fake friends because we're afraid of being alone, or because we mistake attention for affection, or because we ignore red flags in the beginning because we're so eager to be liked. That's not your fault, but it is your responsibility to heal. Work on your boundaries. Get comfortable with solitude. Learn to recognize green flags, not just red ones. Build a relationship with yourself that's so solid that fake friendships become immediately obvious because they feel so different from the self-respect you've cultivated. And finally, stay open. Yes, fake friends hurt. Yes, betrayal is painful. But don't let those experiences close you off to genuine connection. Real friendship is one of life's greatest gifts. It's worth the risk. It's worth the vulnerability. Not everyone will deserve your trust, but some people will. And when you find those rare souls who show up consistently, who celebrate you genuinely, who protect your heart like it's their own, hold on to them. Nurture those relationships, because they're proof that real connection exists, that not everyone is performative, that friendship, true friendship, is still possible. In the end, fake friends teach us something valuable. They teach us what we don't want, what we won't tolerate, what real connection should feel like by showing us its opposite. And while the lesson is painful, it's necessary, because every fake friend you release creates space for a real one to enter. Every boundary you set is an act of self-love. Every time you choose your peace over someone else's performance, you're choosing yourself. And that's the most important friendship of all, the one you have with yourself. Because when that relationship is solid, when you know your worth and refuse to settle for less, fake friends can't survive in your life. They reveal themselves early, and you have the wisdom and the courage to let them go. So if you've been questioning a friendship, if something has felt off for a while now, trust that feeling. You're not imagining it. You're not being dramatic. You're noticing what your heart has known all along. And it's okay to walk away from people who were never really walking beside you. It's okay to outgrow relationships that no longer fit who you're becoming. It's okay to want more than surface level connection, because you deserve friends who are real, present, and genuinely invested in your well-being. And the first step to finding them is releasing the ones who never were.